Give me a second. So, family, if you are in here, thank you for showing up. Go ahead, take your time. So, family, we're gonna get started, and I ask that you share this to whomever, wherever. This is going to be a serious dialogue. In fact, what I want to do, I want to try to see if we can get this on. I might even try to go on what is that, on Facebook real quick. But family, if you are in the building, I'm asking that you share this. You follow me? I'm asking that you share this because we are going to touch some topics that I think rightfully so is going to rub some people the wrong way. What's up, Selby, man? Yeah, very interesting topic, family, and I hope y'all can stay all the way through the end. If not, come back and take a look at it. This topic here is clear. The Moorish Temple of America, Supreme Grand Council revealed. And what this is all about is, what is the Supreme Grand Council? Is it still in existence? And if so, who are the members? Who are the people? What are their functions? What exactly is it all about? I ask that everybody share this real quick. Share this on your social media once or twice. I'm not tripping off the numbers on this channel. It is what it is. But what I am tripping off is those who have something to say. I'm hoping that you can ask all the questions so we can get some answers. Because if I'm in error, I'm telling you right now, if I'm in error, I am willing to make the adjustment. But you got to show me my error. You got to show me my error. You just can't say, you a sellout. You trying to sell us out. You can't do that. You have to show me the actual error. And if you show me the actual error, I'm going in your direction with the truth. If your truth be the truth, and we're going to get this thing right. So let me do one more thing real quick. Let me see if I can. How can I do this? Let me see if I can. 1 second. While people are coming in. I got Rami Salaam in the building. Matter of fact, let's allow brother Rami Salaam to give you a few tidbits about himself, introduce himself. I'm pretty sure y'all familiar with him with IAMHipHopTemple YouTube channel. But if you're not, I yield the floor to him so he can give you a little bit insight on himself. Islam, more.
Islam, peace. Can you hear me cool? All good?
I can hear you. Excellent.
All right. Peace to everybody that's watching this. Much love to you. Appreciate your time. Quick backstory about who I am. Rami Salaam, born and raised in Oakland, California. About late 2011, I was getting real active with the Occupy Wall Street, Occupy Oakland movement. Was out there just learning different information, listening to conversations. This Freemason brother bumped into me, said, "Hey man, you want to know the truth?" He started pointing out this Freemasonry stuff and symbols, and I said, "Oh man, that's cool," but I heard about it. And he said, "Well, have you ever heard about the Moors?" I said, "Nah, I ain't never heard of Moors." He said, "Yeah, it was black people that ruled Europe for 700 years." I said, huh? I used to, anytime there's something interesting for me, I would send myself an email, the topic, and then I research the next day at work. So boom, same thing, go to work, type in the Moors. Boom, whole situation come up on Wikipedia. I said, wow, never heard that, get to reading, get to learning. That led me to a Taj Tariq Bay video, ironically. I think it was Divine Warning to the Black Nation. It's like a three and a half hour video. But he starts talking about Moors and Noble Drew Ali. And I said, well, who is this dude, Noble Drew Ali, so-called prophet? At the time, I'm thinking, we don't have a prophet. I've never heard of this guy. Nah. I look into it. I find the Quran online. I print it out at work. I said, I'm going to read it later at home. I get home. go into the back room. I sit down, start reading. First chapter is real deep. It's a little bit too much for me. I'm like, all right, let's go to the next chapter. Start reading the next chapter. I'm like, okay, this information is interesting. Read more. By the time I hit the chapter about the different names of Allah, but everywhere it's the cause, the rootless root from which all things spring. When I hit that line, I said, okay, this is something different. And I read through the whole thing that night, and from there just did my best to jump, feet first all the way into the movement. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any temples out here. I didn't know none of my partners, none of my people that I knew about Moors or the Moor Science Temple, Noble Drew Ali, none of that. And I was looking, couldn't find anything online. Was doing my best to research. Then I said, okay, I'm just going to start doing what I can, putting out the information. That led to me teaching a class, doing some bi-weekly study group sessions, a bunch of videos on YouTube, as some of you may have seen. And eventually it led me to try, I put the emphasis on try to create a subordinate temple, which, the YouTube channel is named after the IAMHH or IAMHipHopTemple, subordinate temple of the Moorish Science Temple of America. And my whole philosophy on that, which is in the Quran, is that you are allowed to create your own laws and customs as long as it's in conjunction with the laws of the main temple. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, hip hop is our culture. It's our culture. It came from us, Moorish Americans, so-called Black people. So I'm writing exact as long as I keep the profit out front and I'm doing what I think is the right thing, I should be good. But in terms of actualizing the temple, in terms of creating a physical location, starting to take donations, paying dues, I started to ask questions. Things just wasn't really jiving with me, and I was hitting the wall in terms of progress. And so at that point, I said, let me take a step back. Let me refocus. Let me go back to what Noble Drew Ali said. Let me study everything a little more close. So I reread the Quran, and then I reread the 101s. Then I got to the Moorish literature, what I know as the Moorish literature. And I started rereading all of those. What is Islam? The masterpiece of religious literature, the divine warning, the divine message from all of the Moorish literature. And then I saw certain things, Supreme Grand Council. And it really, for whatever reason, after all those years, it was the first time I ever really said, what is that? And I started reading that, and I just went through the whole entire document, the whole entire Moorish literature, looking for any reference to the Supreme Grand Council. And then I started researching everything around that. And I said, this is too integral of an entity within the Moorish Science Temple of America for no one to really be speaking on. Then that's when I started to ask people. When I was working closer with the brother up in Canada, Canaan land, as we know, Cujo, when I started asking him about it, he was kind of ducking the subject. I'm asking these other people, don't even worry about that. Or, I'm getting answers that I'm not, it's like, I don't like this. It should be very clear cut and direct. Prophet Noble Drew Ali made things real clear for us. So then I got on a call where it was several grand sheiks on a call, a conference call. And I put forth the question to all of them. Richard Neal Bay, it was a brother, some folks out of Atlanta that was on the call. Cool Joe was on the call. Several people was on that call, and no one was able to give me a clear answer. So at that point, I said, all right, I gotta stop what I'm doing. I can't push this IAMHipHopTemple any further until I clarify this issue, because I want to make sure I'm right and exact. And I've been trying to do my best. I've been trying, to do what I thought was what Noble Drew Ali said, but I'm not clear on it. So let me slow it down. And since about 2015, 16, I've been speaking about the Supreme Grand Council, asking people, sending letters to all the temples that I could find available, the physical letters to all the physical temples I could find address for. And I refuse to move off of this topic because from my research and my studies, this is the fundamental, this is the integral piece to making sure our temple, the Moorish Science Temple of America, our movement is actually active in a tangible way beyond just the spiritual or the religious side.
Islam, bro,
Islam.
that was beautiful. That was beautiful because for those who have seen you, they might not know the background, and I think that's a complete 360 degree. And now we're here, and I think that's perfect. So again, if you decide, and I told you off camera, I'm gonna tell you now, if you decide to interrupt me in any way, please do. But I want to start from the beginning. First of all, when we look at these grand bodies that are called grand bodies, according to the name that the Prophet Noble Drew Ali coined, these grand bodies are functioning today under the illusion that they are, and this is going to make people angry, but this is a fact because we have Prophet Noble Drew Ali to measure it to against. They are functioning under the illusion that they are the legitimate descendant of the power brokers of the Moorish Science Temple of America, which is furthest away from the truth. In fact, it's a flat out lie. There is not one grand body here that has an unbroken lineage to Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Not one.
I just want to say one thing, that not to cut you, but as we continue, anybody watching this, let's remove our feelings. Let's remove
They're gonna have
what
yes.
you feel or what you believe, and let's focus on the facts. Let's focus on the evidence. What is the proof? You know what I mean? Because far too often, we speak about Moorish science, yet we don't operate in a scientific manner. So we got to make sure that we are being scientific and provide the evidence. If you disagree, if you say this is incorrect or this is a lie, well, please point out where the lie is. Point out, provide the evidence of the truth so I can be corrected. Because I also, if I didn't make it clear, I'm not above correction or critique. I am striving to be the best Muslim, the best Moorish American I can be. But I know that I make mistakes, and I'm not above being corrected. So if I'm in there, let me know so I could correct myself.
All right. Indeed. So again, there is not one Moorish Science Temple of America here today from the organizational perspective that is a direct link to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali's organization. There is a few people that has a direct connection to the Prophet here today. Case in point, David Bailey Ill. He has a direct connection due to his relationship to Emily Ill. The individual does. But even his organization, called the Moorish Science Temple of America or Moorish Science Temple of America, follows under the same broken chain that everybody tried to cover up. So we're gonna touch on that first. Before we can get to the Supreme Grand Council, first we have to establish the legitimate and illegitimate positioning of those who claim to be the Moorish Science Temple of America. That's the first thing that have to be established. And with that being said, let me go to this slide real quick, if I can. And again, and I appreciate what bro said, that if anybody, let me stop this screen share real quick. If anybody would have any questions, family, you good. You can bring them on in. But let me go ahead and find this real quick. Screen share this right quick. Bam. So, hold up. Let me get on my right page. So, here we go. Because I got a lot, fam. This coming. So, first of all, everybody knows Emeliel in this day and time. I tell you, when I came into the Moorish Science Temple of America, we didn't know who Emeliel was. I can tell you now, we didn't have a clue who Emeliel was. You know what I'm saying? Even though he was on back of the questionnaire, we didn't know who he was. So let's be clear. Edward Emeliel was the first and only appointed Supreme Grand Sheikh appointed by Prophet Noble Drew Ali. That's it. Now, when we look at the Supreme Grand Sheikh, you have to understand that the Supreme Grand Sheikh is not the head of the Moorish Science Temple of America. I don't know why everybody's fighting for the title of Supreme Grand Sheikh. The Supreme Grand Sheikh, and I'm going to show you something on that in a minute. The Supreme Grand Sheikh is the head of the Supreme Grand Council. The head of the Moorish Science Temple of America is what is written in Act 1. The Grand Sheikh and the chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make laws and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the grand body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Supreme Grand Sheikh is not the head of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Consequently, Emeliel was the head and was appointed to the Supreme Grand Sheikh also. How do we know? Here we go. Here we go. This is how we know.
Man knows not by being told. Wise man taught me.
Absolutely. So here, this is how we know. How we know. In the 1928, I think it was the Chicago, what is that paper? Give me 1 second. I want to make sure you know what paper I'm talking about. So give me 1 second.
Defender?
It is. Let me show you real quick. It is. I'm gonna pull it up in a minute. I just got a lot of windows open because I want to be able to answer all questions with clearness and power tonight. So I think it's the Chicago Defender.
Okay,
that's the name of the
Defender.
paper. So in the Chicago Defender, this article comes up in the Chicago Defender. Where we at? Oh, man. Here it is. All right, so this article in 1928, I can't be sure of the exact date at this moment, but I do have the article for you. If I can. Where you at? Where you at? Chicago Defender? Hold up 1 second. I might got too many windows open. Hold on 1 second, family. Let me get this out of here real quick. Okay, now let me try. Here we go. So this is the Chicago Defender article, circa around about 1928. And it reads, it is reported that the Prophet is being reported to the Chicago Defender. The Supreme is this, that it is reported that the Prophet, the Supreme Executive Authority, will appoint a Supreme Grand Council of which he will be the Supreme Grand Chairman. Now, here we go. The Supreme Grand Council will have power and duty to control and supervise all affairs, and you got to remember this, family, all affairs and properties of the Moorish Science Temple of America. That's management, and it will be the sole judge of what constitutes the conduct injurious to the order of peace in the interest or welfare of the organization, or at variance with the Constitution and bylaws. Also, the rules and regulation made by the prophet. Stop there for 1 second. Let's take a pit stop here for a second. The Supreme Grand Council is the one that gives out what they will call in the East the fatwas. The Supreme Grand Council is one that confirms that something is consistent with Prophet Noble Drew Ali's teachings or something that is not consistent. For example, and this is done in an orderly fashion. For example, if convention was held and the grand body, and I can explain the grand body too, but right now we're just going to focus on the Supreme Grand Council. The grand body say, you know what? We need to find out how the Moorish Science Temple of America feel about homosexual marriage. You may have some say, well, you know, I think we shouldn't even speak on it. That's one idea. You have one that say, well, you know, everybody can love everybody, and we should just, just embrace that everybody love everybody, but they can't join the temple. That could be one idea. And then another idea would say, well, no. In our Quran, it says, Allah says, or the Prophet Noble Drew Ali says, take unto thyself a wife and obey the ordinance of Allah. Take unto thyself a wife. Now let's determine what's a wife. And so they bounce that around, and then the Supreme Grand Council, with all its members, at the end, they have a vote. According to what the prophet said, not according to passions, according to what the prophet record says. And then from that, they leave out there, and then they bring it back to the floor, and then it's confirmed by the grand body. So it's just like the Senate. The Senate have a vote, and then they throw it to the floor, and then it's confirmed. Once it's confirmed, boom, it becomes law for the Moorish Science Temple of America. That this is our position. This is why it's not in good interest of anybody to claim to be moving in the Moorish National Divine Movement and don't know the structural operation of the Moorish Science Temple of America, because you're not going nowhere like that. It's just not going to go anywhere. And many of these groups call themselves the Moorish Science Temple of America really don't even understand this process. And the thing is, there's so many layers to it. We're only talking about the Supreme Grand Council. The grand body is unique into itself, how it functions. This right here is so many levels, it would have somebody's head spinning. So that's what the Supreme Grand Council is. And the Supreme Grand Sheikh is the head. He's like the chairman. He's the head of the Supreme Grand Council. In other words, he calls the meeting to order. He calls the meeting to order. You see what I'm saying? And all those that's in the positions of the Supreme Grand Council, and we'll get into those positions one in a minute. Those that are in the position of the Supreme Grand Council, they are guided by the Supreme Grand Sheikh. But he's only the head of the Supreme Grand Council. Now, you with me so far, big bro?
Islam, if I could just add, because I literally wrote down the question, what is the grand body? Because you're talking about things, and but I think what's important for us to really understand and recognize is that what you're speaking on, which is what Noble Drew Ali established, again, not what you made up. It is not the Supreme Grand Council, ain't something you designed. This is what Noble Drew Ali created. This is government. This is governing ourselves, and there's a structure, and there's an order, and there's law to it, and just to relate it to something that perhaps others can understand. Just as we have the Supreme Grand Council, well, the United States of America has the Supreme Court and Supreme Court judges, and Absolutely. just as you were saying, as we have a head of the Supreme Grand Council. Well, the Chief Justice of the United States is the Chief Judge of the Supreme Court of the United States. It is the highest ranking officer of the U.S. federal judiciary. So it's government. Just as there's a structure to the United States of America, there's a structure to the Moorish Temple of America.
Absolutely. And to digress a little bit so we can touch on that, give me 1 second. What is the grand body? I'll quickly digress, and then I'll get back to what I was saying with this right here. To understand the grand body and understand the structure of the Moorish Temple of America, we can quickly go into the United States government because the original Republican form of government is our style. That's us. That's not them. But nevertheless. So when you look at the legislative branch, you look at the grand body. When you look at the executive branch, you look at the grand sheikh and chairman. When you look at the Supreme Grand Council, you look at the judicial branch. You see what I'm saying? And so the grand body consists of those with grand on their name, grand governors, grand sheiks. You follow me? And all of those. So if you're a grand governor, you represent a state, like like the governor of a state. You see what I'm saying? If you are a governor, you're like a mayor. You follow me? But if you're a grand governor, you control the state. You're the head of state. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you are a governor, you also you can't be a governor without being a grand sheikh at once, because a governor is a head of temple. Grand sheiks, governors, and heads of all temples. You see what I'm saying? And then grand sheikh. So anybody with a grand on their name makes up the grand body, and they represent their constituents. They represent their temple members. They represent their temples. They represent, and they are the voice at convention. You see what I'm saying? It's not everybody having a word. No, they bring the temple, bring the issue to the grand sheikh. The grand sheikh dialogues with the governor. The grand governor dialogues with the grand body, represents that portion of, or that faction, or that temple, that body at the convention, and they dialogue amongst the grand body. And this is in every state. You see what I'm saying? So that's the grand body. It's not everybody all over the place. So the grand sheikh and chairman also has his cabinet. It's the grand sheikh and the chairman, the assistant grand sheikh, secretary, treasurer, etc., etc. And then you got the Supreme Grand Council. You see what I'm saying? That's the judicial part. But all of this, and I don't want to get too deep into that because that goes into, we might get veered off track, but how convention works, all of these work hand in hand to bring forth resolution to move the movement in a perpetual way. Just like the United States has moved in a perpetual way. You know what I'm saying? And so let me blow this up just a little bit so you can see the example of which I'm talking about. When I blow this up, you can see it's not rocket science if we've studied this a little bit close and pay attention to how the prophet moved. And somebody said, well, how did you come up with that? Well, I studied the prophet and I can compare it to what the prophet did, and I can actually break it all the way down. So give me 1 second. See if I can. You see, this is not. Just want to get a full screen of it for you real quick. But so what I did was I mirrored the prophet's movement to this actual Republican form of government, because that's what it is. See, what people don't understand is that the Moors was there at the founding of this country. Europeans never instituted government. They only monopolized off what they learned from our forefathers, indigenous and otherwise. That's all they did. They just flipped it, and we think it's theirs, but that's another story. So let me just go back to what I was saying before about the Supreme Grand Council. Now, in the Supreme Grand Council, one of the things that the Prophet Noble Drew Ali points out is that the way one comes into power, they must be appointed. So when you look at the flyer, I mean, not the flyer, you look at that ad right here. He says, let me blow it up just a little more. He said, the rules and regulations made by the prophet and shall be the sole judge of the sufficiency of the evidence sole judge of the sufficiency of the evidence by which such conduct is shown. Is shown. Prophet Noble Drew Ali is being congratulated by Chicagoans, etc., etc. But when you go to the top, one of the key words that we have to pay attention to is it is reported that the prophet, the supreme executive authority, will appoint a supreme grand council of which he will be the supreme grand chairman. Now, how do we get to this point? When we look at, let me go here real quick. When we look on back of our questionnaire, you will find that we'll see the same thing on back of our questionnaire: to appoint, anoint, and consecrate. So, who's ever the grand sheikh and chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America has the power to appoint, anoint, and consecrate. But what about if that collapses? What happens? What happens if that collapses? Well, it did collapse. It certainly did collapse. And
if I could pause for a second on this one.
Come on, brother. You good. Anytime.
All right, cool. So just to add on real quick before it gets to the collapse, I just wanted to highlight two things. One, because you had mentioned the Supreme Grand Council, as you was reading, is in charge of all the affairs and properties in the Moorish Science Temple of America. And I know there's many Moors out there. They were always speaking about law. You know what I mean? Taj Tariq Bey, law. Okay, so let's get into the law dictionary just so we're clear on what affairs mean in law. And this is the Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition. Affairs is an inclusive term bringing within its scope and meaning anything that a person may do, or in this case, the Moorish Science Temple of America may do. It brings in anything of the scope, anything that the Moorish Science Temple of America may do. That is what is known as affairs. So anything our organization is doing, the Supreme Grand Council has the power and the duty to control and supervise. That's how important it is. And then to your point, to add on about appointing, in the Moorish literature, in the section where it's titled "To All Governors, Grand Sheikhs, and Head Officials of the Temple." I wanted to just highlight this. During this convention period, the Prophet Noble Drew Ali said on the 17th of October that he was going to again appoint 7 men tried and true and accepted by you.
Accepted by you is the confirmation.
And this is coming. This is to all governors, grand sheikhs, head officials of the temple. Just to continue, just so we're clear on the process. Accepted by you, and on the very next day, Noble Drew Ali stepped forward from the chamber room and declared that he now had his number, and said that the grand body, Noble Drew Ali said that the grand body had accepted his choice in the setting of the Supreme Grand Council of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and Prophet Noble Drew Ali also declared what their duties in conjunction with that of the grand body, which consists of all executive rulers. So it's very clear, cut and dry, the process. He selected the people, but then the selection had to be confirmed by the grand body. So it's not some dictator saying, these is my people and you got to accept it because I'm the prophet or I'm the supreme, whoever is in charge. It don't work like that. It's government.
Bro, do you see how all of these people are willy-nilly in this thing at this point? You can clearly see that, and it's my confidence and faith that we need to put this together. No one has put this together. The prophet gave it to us. I brought you everything you need to save a nation. Now take it and save yourself. No one has taken it and saved themselves. Now, let me go back for a minute real quick and let me show you that no one has taken it and saved themselves. No one. No one is organized to execute this. See, what they don't realize is that Prophet gave us the example. We are to produce the example. People are trying to lie and claim that they have what the Prophet handed down. They are lying. Let's start. Let's take it from the top real quick. Let's take it from the top. Here we go. When we take it from the top, as I started earlier, and we was talking about Eliel. Eliel. Let me get the screen share real quick. Eliel was appointed by the Prophet Noble Ali. It's clear. Hold up. Let me make sure I get this right. I want to make sure we get this right. Give me 1 second. I'm going to stop the screen share because I want to be able to see, make sure everybody can see it exactly how I see it. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. Let me widen it out real quick. So, Eliel was appointed by the Prophet Noble Ali. Clear. So now, the group that is prevalent today that people want to talk about is the Kirkman Bay group. Hold up. Where you go at? Is the Kirkman Bay group. So how do we establish the Eliel and Kirkman Bay in relation to the legitimacy and the perpetuation of the Supreme Grand Council? How do we establish that? Well, it's very easy to establish. First of all, we know without a doubt or contradiction that this is the second annual convention. This is the picture. Eliel was the leader. Kirkman Bay was there. Eliel was the leader. Kirkman Bay was there. They know he was the leader. How do they know he was the leader? Because Kirkman Bay tried to get him to sign off on his position as the Supreme Grand Advisor. And if he's not the leader, why would you need him to sign off if you are an extension of the Prophet? But hold up, let me just drop a bombshell real quick. When we go to the website, MST of A 1913, and we're gonna pull it up, and let's do it in real time because we're gonna clear all this up real rapidly, real quick. Here we go. They called themselves the official website of the Moorish Temple of America. And so when we go to, let's go to past leadership. Let me see if I can find it. Past leadership. We're going to bust this up real quick. Past officials. Now, they got C. Kirkman Bay from 1929. This is a lie. It's a total lie. I don't care who get mad. It's an extreme lie. It's a gross negligence lie. Listen to what it says, because I want to confirm what I'm trying to say. After the Prophet passed, it was this brother who had the wisdom, understanding, patience, and courage to carry on. Family, please share this with everybody. We're going to kill these lies. To carry on the Prophet's work, believing in his own heart that he could, with determination to try. With the determination to try. It was he who served the test of time, who had served the test of time loyally and obediently. He proved his worth in the name of love. He was voted in office by Moors. Remember that? Remember what this say now. He was voted in office by Moors and sanctioned by the government to be the best man for the job. His official title was Supreme Grand Advisor and Moderator, 1929 to 1959. Listen, family, we're about to bust this up real quick. It says he was voted in office. All right? Let's just see about that. Let's just see about that real quick. It says he was voted in office. All right. So we know who was the Supreme Grand Sheikh in hold on 1 second. We know who was the Supreme Grand Sheikh in 1929. I'm pretty sure we do. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to pull this up real quick. Cancel that. Here we go. Let me pull it back up. So we know who was the which one is this? What is going on here? You don't want to come up? All right. Give me 1 second. Why in the world? Let me just share it and see what happens. All right, so what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to figure out why this thing won't share, right? Oh, they in my computer? What's going on? What's going on? Hold up. Don't worry about it. Ah, my goodness. Hold on. I'm going to stop it. I'm going to try it again. Share, share, share. In the world? Bam. Bam. This will not. Stand by, family. Hold up. They ain't. Why in the world? I'm trying to figure out why this will not share. All right, let's do it like this. I got you. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do it like this. Stand by, family. I'm gonna do it just like this. And I might trip up over a few things, but you'll be able to get my point. All right, let's throw that down there. Let's throw that up here. Bam, bam. This is weird. All right, hold up. Let me get them down. Let me get him down. I'm gonna get you. Somebody said, how can we join the Noble Temples? Hold on, stand by, family. I really want to get this screen share right here. This is a very important one right here. This is a very important one. I just can't figure out why it's capturing my own screen. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Hold up. Let me make sure I don't have two. I know what I'm going to do. Stand by. Because this is very important here, family. This is one of the most important things that we're going to be discussing. All right, let's do it like this. Let's try it now. There it is. So, after all that, I hope y'all remember what we just said.
Voted in office.
They said that he was voted into office. Kirkman Bey. Now, we know who was head of the movement in 1928, don't we? Mm-hmm. Of course we do. It was Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Okay. So we got the second annual convention flyer right here. Who was the head of this? Who ran this convention in 1929? Of course we know. I just showed the picture. Emil. In 1930, who ran the convention in 1930? Shall we blow it up? Again, Emil. How about 31? Emil. I think y'all know what I'm getting to. When did this vote happen?
And if I can add, where is the record or the documentation? Because if it happened, hey,
so
if it happened,
but check this out, Rami Salaam L. Check this out. We just talked about earlier that the process of coming into power has been laid out where it's easy for us to piece together.
Indeed.
Not only did we talk about the process a few minutes ago, where did Kirkman Bey meet this process? Now, once again, we know that Kirkman Bey came to Emilio to get a paper to try to get the position that doesn't even exist called Supreme Grand Advisor. It doesn't even exist. Not in the Moorish paradigm. That's not an official position. So the point would be is, if Emilio was not the leader, why would he go to Emilio to be confirmed as a position? And it was an honorary position at that. Emilio mentions that in his letters. It was an honorary position. But the point that I'm making is that when was this work done where Kirkman Bey went through the official process as laid out by Prophet Noble Drew Ali to be the leader of the Moorish Science Temple of America? You can't find it nowhere. It doesn't exist. It just doesn't exist. This is not a shot at that group. It just does not exist.
Gotta be honest, man. We have to be honest.
And we got a brother in here that's a ride or die Kirkman Bey fan, but he won't debate me on it. He said, Brother Emilio voted for C. Kirkman Bey. If he voted, but now this is how irrational we thinking. If he voted for C. Kirkman Bey to be the leader of the organization, then why is Emilio still the leader all the way up until he dies? That doesn't make sense. I have the flyers. So, and if Kirkman Bey was the leader, where is his convention flyers?
Where's the evidence?
From 29 all the way up till today. I got minutes from Kirkman Bey starting at 34.
And
I got minutes from Emilio starting from 29.
And Emilio passed, if I'm not mistaken, in 1934, correct?
That's when the takeover happened.
And this, you know,
I wanted to say this, Rami Salaam, and then I'll let you go. This is what I mean, that there is no group can claim a direct connection from an organizational perspective. We can get that out the way. There is not one here that can claim from an organizational perspective. And the Kirkman Bey group disqualifies themselves because they didn't even go through the process as the Prophet laid down. I don't care if they've been here since 34. It doesn't matter. You did not meet the standard of leadership. You disqualified. And it's a holy and divine movement too. Let's not forget that. Once it's a holy and divine movement, there is not one thing that can be changed about it, or you take the holy and divine out of it. It becomes your organization at that point. And that's why I'm here to show how we need to go ahead and scrap it and put this thing together for real. That's what the Noble Temple's here to do. Let's go ahead, brother. I yield the floor.
I don't want to detour too far, but it's just for context purpose. I had this book here. It's called The Rise and Fall of Muslims, from the pious caliphs to Abbasid, Spain, and Mughal dynasties. Saeed Akbar al-Badi. Pardon me. Islamic history. Now I'm bringing this up because this book, I'll just read this little brief thing. This book presents detailed account of the wonder-inspiring rise of the Muslims and their pathetic fall. It embodies the stories and the assessments of the very first Caliphate a-Rashida, the well-guided government of the immediate successors of the Holy Prophet of Islam, the Muslim governments in succeeding periods of history, their political strategies, their collective and social events and conditions in the cultural and administrative scenarios, the factors and events leading to the rise of the Muslims, and their faults and shortcomings resulting in their horrible downfall have been critically analyzed. So it's breaking, in long story short, it's breaking down the Muslims or Moors back in the 700s, 800s, 900s, when they came into power as the Muslims came into power in terms of governance of the East. And it goes through different dynasties that were ruling as Muslims. And what happened was, in short, the first person, and I don't, forgive me for not knowing the precise detail, but the first ruler was based on their actions and their deeds, and they were following according to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. They were following the law and they were writing exact, so they were qualified to be in the leadership position. Over time, some of the people in the movement who were related to Prophet Muhammad felt like they should be in charge because they had more of a connection to Prophet Muhammad over the people that were ruling, even though the people who were ruling at that time were following the law and doing things according to what Prophet Muhammad established better than the people that were related to him. And over time, problems happened. We're talking assassinations, overthrowing, and that's how ultimately the fall of the Muslims or the Moors in 1492, etc., etc., etc. I bring that up to bring us back into right now and our movement in our time, where we have a organization which has a government to it and governance to it, and a proper way to govern and a proper way to run the organization. And there are certain individuals that feel like they are more qualified because they were directly linked to Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Their father was in the temple with him, so they are more qualified, and that's incorrect. If if we just look back in history, and if we look according to our own structure. Yeah, it is. All right, love you. Sorry about that. My daughter's bouncing. And so I say that to say it is, as you said, this is a divine movement. This is a divine, a divine and national movement. Divine, though. We've been speaking about it, but I want us to re-emphasize the fact that Noble Drew Ali is a true and divine prophet.
Absolutely.
Not just a very wise leader, not just this dude that has some cool information and kicked off a movement that did some good, but now we can figure things out. No, he was literally sent from the creator of the universe. Specifically he came for everybody. Universe, but came specifically to so-called Negroes because we needed him the most. We was down bad. Didn't know who we were, didn't know our creed, is all bad. And he came and established the organization, established laws, rules, regulations, laid it out, walked the walk, set the example. All we got to do is follow. We got to stop trying to be in front of the prophet. I understand, however, prideful we are, how you think you got the greatest ideas. Amazing. Let's go for it. Let's get in line, though.
And
let's
that's
make sure we in line.
It's too many. People have too much egos because the way that I come onto social media, he's loud. But I'm gonna tell you, either they're gonna do it the prophet way, or they just spinning their wheels. It ain't going nowhere. It's just like the brothers in here, the brother from Mars TV that's overzealous. He can talk that Kirkman based stuff all he want. It's not going to produce what the prophet produced because it's not an extension of the prophet's concepts or philosophy. It's just not. The structure is not there. If it's not met, if the structure is not met, the structure basically is where it embodies this movement to move forward. Of course, we got to study ourselves, the higher self and the lower self, but it's within this structure, right?
And to your point, to anyone, not even just the brother, but whoever may say, nah, you're not correct, I don't agree, that's cool. What we can do is put the information on the table. Take it off of how you feel, what you think, and you and your group or your people, your body of Moors, take it off and put it on the table. and let's examine the evidence.
They
And
don't have
whatever.
none. Hey, bro, they don't have none. Let me answer this question. I don't mean to cut your wisdom. Somebody said, quick question. What do noble temples want to come out of this exposing? The only thing I desire is the truth. And as the prophet Noble Drew Ali says, the divine truth. And what is that? Is he said, it's good to know I got a few faithful Moors among you that desire the truth and the divine truth. I simply want the public to know the divine truth, because there is no salvation in a lie. There is no right way to do wrong. Either we are going to get this thing right or not. And let me say this about the brother Mars, and then we'll move forward with that. He claims that Kirkman Bey is official. Well, in their own minutes, it says, Brother T. Rose L. made the following statement. We elected Brother C. Kirkman Bey Supreme Grand Advisor behind closed doors, and through a mistake, the Prophet's laws have not been carried out. Now, I can go into that history too very easily. I can go, that was over in Temple number 9. Temple number 9 was instrumental in trying to overthrow Prophet Noble Drew Ali in conjunction with Claude Green. After Claude Green was killed, it was regular members in a basement in Temple number 9 and said, okay, Claude Green gone. Now Kirkman Bey is going to be the leader. This all can be proven. I have the names. I have the names. I have the history. So the point that I'm making is I have every name of those who amongst no coup, it was a coup, who voted Kirkman Bey. They wasn't in convention. They didn't go through the convention process, nor did they go through the process that the Prophet Noble Drew Ali laid down, even in private. This is why in their own minutes, he said, we made a mistake. And the Prophet's laws have not been carried out. And I don't care if it's 2021, if the Prophet laws were not carried out, this is why we are running on a treadmill.
Not going nowhere, saddening. And let me just put this on the record, because the person said, "What do you get out of this exposing?" And I get that sometimes too with people. Oh, you're trying to expose. I'm gonna read something for you. It says, the tongue of the sincere is rooted in heart. Hypocrisy and deceit have no place in his words. He is consistent with himself. He is never embarrassed. He hath courage enough for truth, but to lie he is afraid. That's from the chapter Holy Instructions from the Prophet on Sincerity. If you're truly being sincere, then you're not afraid to speak the truth. You're not afraid. Let's put the truth out there. And if there's a mistake, let's put the evidence out there, not what you say, because man knows not by being told. So it's not what people tell you. It's not what people believe. Let's put the facts out there. Let's get the evidence and the proof out there. And then let's correct ourselves and move forward. Because as long as we keep playing games, and this is a message I want to get out to anyone and everyone that's involved in this movement, and in particular the people that are trying to manipulate and mislead people. Understand that this is a divine movement. Drew Ali was a divine prophet, and if you play with this movement and if you play games with this, severe consequences is coming.
Oh, and they already came. That's why they ain't going nowhere.
And it will continue. It will get worse. You know what I mean? So I humbly advise people, if you don't play games with this movement, just turn in your turban and fez and go do something else, and allow people who are truly sincere about uplifting fallen humanity, as this is what this is really about. People that are really sincere about that, allow us to move forward with the movement. Stop trying to stagnate things.
And let me add on to that. Without the structure, there is no movement. I mean, you're not moving nowhere. Without the structure that the Prophet gave us, anything taken away from the structure that the Prophet gave us will only limit us to some earthly salvation for the leadership and those in leadership. Because this is This organization was not designed for one person to benefit, and it only works as a collective. So when people say I'm a part of the Moorish National Divine Movement, but you ain't in the system. This is a system that the prophet put together, and you're not in the system, then it doesn't work for you, nor will it work for us. So my goal has been, from the Noble Temple perspective, is to go and wake up people who never heard of this before, because those that claim that they heard of this and claim that they represent this, they don't even care about the system. The system is the vehicle that gets us up out of this situation. And in a minute, I'm going to show something about these positions about the Supreme Grand Council, and you will be able to decide if this stuff exists or not. But I'll yield the floor, brother, real quick to you, and then I'm going to get this slide together.
Man, I think what's key, and you said, is that you said it will not work for you and it will not work for us. I think what we have to realize is that it's a we. We are not going to go anywhere if some of us break off and try to do our own thing and go this direction, and some of us try to go this direction, and I'm going to join this new organization that's claiming that this, and we going to do this. What ends up happening is we start getting pulled in all sorts of different directions, and we are divided and stagnant, and there's no forward momentum, no real progress. That's why, if you look back over the past almost 100 years now, we don't truly have things established as we should.
But let me add on to that. I think this is my position. I believe in the old Jesus saying, let the dead bury the dead. If you've been moving on this platform for, as you just said, 100 years, and you haven't produced what the Prophet Noble Drew Ali produced in 3, man, I'm done with you. I'm not trying to convince you of nothing. I'm going to this next generation, and this generation that don't know nothing about affairs or a turban. I'm going to the same people that Prophet Noble Drew Ali went to. You know who Prophet Noble Drew Ali went to? He went into a parking lot. These people didn't know about a turban. They didn't know about affairs. They didn't know about more. That's the Noble Temple. Our temple, that's what we go for. We know most people in our temple have never been in none of these groups. Never. Faithful. You know what I'm saying? Because it's been me. I've been looking at Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and I'm saying, how did Prophet Noble Drew Ali in 1926 go into a parking lot and convince somebody who was knee-deep in Negro, knee-deep in colored, and get them to put this fez on, move proudly, up to 30,000 people in a short span of 3 years? That's what I want to know. What they doing, I don't want to know none of that, because you got the evidence is what it is. It hasn't produced nothing. Even with me being around, only thing that it produced in me was to say, hold up, let me readjust and see what the heck went wrong. And so here we go. I don't want to get off. I want to make sure that I share this too. So when we talk about the Supreme Grand Council, right? Let me get this real quick, Brother Rami. When we talk about the Supreme Grand Council, right? What you looking at right now, you're looking at Emailio, you're looking at Ross Bay in the middle. But what you're looking at right here is the authority that the Prophet put on back of our Quran. If you go to the paper that Kirkman Bay put out, what you see right here, after 34, he puts out this paper and he takes all the names that the Prophet appointed in those positions. So if you look here, it says the following person was appointed sheikhs, and then you got a blank line. This comes out of Kirkman Bay's paper after Emailio passed. He removed what they say in the Bible, the ancient mark. He removed that. But no worries, no foul. It is foul, but anyway. The Prophet published in the newspaper the complete lineup of his authority and those who was appointed in the position. But now, let's move down and talk about the Supreme Grand Council. This is a letterhead during the time of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. This is a letterhead of the Supreme Grand Council. You follow me? And on this letterhead, you can see the members of the Supreme Grand Council at this time. Lomax Bey, Supreme Grand Governor. Emiliel, Supreme Grand Sheikh. Richard Ross Bey, Supreme Publicity Director and Supreme Grand Field Secretary. I want y'all to remember these names. Supreme Business Manager, Claude Green Bay. William H.A. Moore, Supreme Historian. And Pearl Drew Ali was the National Secretary and the Treasurer. Let's start up top. The daily function of the Supreme Grand Council. The prophet is the law. The Supreme Grand Chairman oversees the entire movement. The Supreme Grand Sheikh, the Supreme Grand Chairman oversees the entire movement, and that's the law of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Let's get that out the way. The Supreme Grand Governor, his job is to ensure that the Grand Governors throughout the MST of A is functioning lawfully and interprets the law thereof. So, real quick, the Supreme Grand Governor, he oversees the national Grand Governors who are the heads of the state. That's the position. So if you don't understand what a Supreme Grand Governor is, then you won't understand how this functions. He oversees, he makes sure that their job is being met. You follow me? That their job is being met. Secondly, when you look at, let me answer this guy one more time. I've already said in the beginning that the Supreme Grand Sheikh is not the head of the Moorish Science Temple of America. I said that earlier, and I already explained that. You're coming in late, Mars. So the Supreme Grand Governor oversees all Grand Governors, which is the head of every state. That's number one. Then you got the Supreme Grand Sheikh. 1 second. Then you got the Supreme Grand Sheikh. If I can pull that up real quick. Then you got the Supreme Grand Sheikh. The Supreme Grand Sheikh ensures that the Grand Sheikhs throughout the Moorish, this is the daily function. Remember in the article it said daily function throughout the Moorish Science Temple of America, that they are functioning lawfully and enforcing the laws thereof throughout the fiscal year. This is not the total job, but this is one of the jobs that he oversees that. All Grand Sheikhs throughout the movement. Then you have the Supreme Grand Publicity Director. Ensure that the media outlets are given the proper information concerning the Moorish Science Temple of America, like the FCC. That was Ross Bey. This is why Ross Bey was the one to travel with Prophet Noble Drew Ali throughout the South.
And if we could just pause for a moment, if we had the Supreme Grand Council established when that incident happened July 3rd with that splinter group, and they were claiming to be a part of there could have been an official notice that went out to all of the national media across the country, expressing and making a clarification and a distinction between who Moorish Americans and the Moorish Science Temple of America are.
And now check this out, brother. Hold that thought, but I want you to carry on. And I'm going to remove on and let you flow. But you know what we got? Everybody was sending all sorts of type of letters.
Indeed.
Everybody was making all sorts of type of statements.
I saw that, and I particularly didn't.
The prophet. So if you ain't moving like the prophet, you ain't moving at all.
But I particularly chose not to really speak on it, but I'm glad you brought it up. But that highlights the problem with our movement. there's too many people trying to do their own thing instead of being in line with what Noble Drew Ali established. It's not something difficult to comprehend. You don't gotta recreate something. It's already there for us. All we do, we have to, and this kind of gets to some of the questions that I've had. When I started researching this thing, I saw a bunch of issues with missing documentation from 1929 onwards. 1930s, 40s, 50s. You pick a decade, and I'm looking for information about the Supreme Grand Council. I can't find it. But I said, okay, well, what about the present time? And I'm saying, where is the documentation in the records that can validate who is the official? Because I've had people email me a document saying, oh, well, these are the people. Or I've had Moorish tell me, oh, well, you just need to call this person and they'll let you know. But I said, no, that's not correct. It's supposed to be clear in public for everyone to see. It should be very clear. And what I had to accept and realize is this: our office, those seats are vacant. We have not
Brother,
properly, lawfully filled those positions. And that is why we have so many issues.
hey, brother, listen to me. Listen to me. Most people don't know what I'm sharing right now and been around for 30 years. So you cannot fulfill something if you haven't done the research in order to validate the process. It's just like if you have a job at your job. If you haven't been trained in that, or someone taught you the functionality of that job, there's no way you can meet the standards that your supervisor asks.
And let me interject this and build on that. Part of the experience I had before I learned anything about Noble Drew Ali and this Moors is I was in records management for a pharmaceutical company, global company. I had a lot of responsibility, but it taught me how to be very, very pay attention to detail and look for things very specifically and pay attention to the dates when they're signed on scientific records. And I had to be responsible because we're talking about millions of dollars on the line. Legal department hit me up asking for documents from 1983, 1972, and they need them by yesterday. So I had to be on it. I bring that up to say, you just read a document that said something about the fiscal year, right? You said it was something that said fiscal year. Well, fiscal, we're talking about finance, financial records. Let's bring that over to the temple tax, which Noble Drew Ali said was necessary. Now, and let me just read this, and this is very important. Because of the fact that the expense of the operation of the temple is increasing so fast, they found it necessary to vote a tax to the prophet to carry on the work. This idea was concurred with by the Supreme Grand Council. This act is so arranged it will not be a burden to the temple, but this is the part that I want to highlight. The governor or officer in charge of each temple will cause a report to be rendered to the Supreme Grand Business Manager of the Supreme Grand Council. And it will specify and itemize the following: number of adepts, members, number of new members taken each month, and 25 cents must accompany the name of each, such as the members as the representation tax. And the per capita tax collection begins November 1st, 1928. All concerned will save themselves penalized if they render their reports promptly and specifically. Okay,
That's an organization.
And I highlight that because this is a report that was supposed to be sent in monthly to the Supreme Grand Business Manager of the Supreme Grand Council, which is saying, if you're not clear on that, let me just highlight that. That's meaning that each temple across the country, no matter who you are, is supposed to be working hand in hand with the Supreme Grand Council. So there's no excuse for whoever you are to say, well, I don't have anything to do with the Supreme Grand. Well, according to our laws, Noble Drew Ali, which is the prophet, he established this.
I wanted to just interject just one second. we see in what we're talking about that the system has broken down, and it has been broken down. Now, who's going to step up and say, let's put it together?
And this is where I want to
That's
push
where
back.
we at.
And this
That's
is where
where
I
we
want
at
to
now. Like,
hold on.
we need to go.
I want to push back on you just a tiny bit, because I feel now more than ever is why we have to get back inside the one temple. You know, I know many people, we have our different organizations, different movements, different groups.
I
But we
think you're gonna
have
have to let that go.
that's the
You know,
and
let
this
me
is
tell you why I think you're gonna have to let that go, because the reason why this happened was to overthrow Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and that energy is still alive and well. Because if they didn't want to overthrow Prophet Noble Drew Ali, these same groups would have a Supreme Grand Council, and they
and this
don't.
and this is but this is the thing. This is the beautiful thing about it. All we have to do is be present. As you said earlier, who are the ones that's going to put this together? He said, I gave you everything that you needed to save a nation. Now take it and save yourself. I feel humbly that it's people that who are sincerely about uplifting humanity, sincerely have faith that Noble Drew Ali was our prophet and is our true and divine prophet, that we just have to be more vocal and
Yeah,
firm and with the love. You know, it's not. And let me clarify this, because this is not some. It's not some. Oh, we're gonna take the people in the movement and throw. It's not some bully situation, but it's simply saying we have to stand up and say it cannot go like this any further.
but you
You
know,
know,
the thing
the
is,
pat and hold on, just let me just get this last
you
little
good,
bit
brother.
out if I could. Um, with all due respect to all of the different elders that's been in the movement, whoever you are, all you have to do is simply show and prove that you have been doing what Noble Drew Ali said. If you claim to be the leader, all you have to do is provide your document. Because if you are the leader of a temple, you will have these reports. Put it forth. And if you have been doing what, hold on,
Nobody has it.
let me just. But this is the thing. This is we can feel that, we can believe that, but okay, show and prove. If you
What,
have the proof, they can step forward, and if they do, all right, then they are qualified. And
what
if
I'm
they
saying
and if
to you is that becomes, and with all due respect, becomes a waste of time. It doesn't exist, brother. You know what I'm
because
saying? And
here's the
so,
thing,
and
but
so,
here's the
and
thing.
so, so what I'm saying is that you have millions and millions of people that call themselves black Negro, I mean black African American out there waiting to hear this gospel. I don't think it would be wise to try to convince someone who has walked with affairs on their dome for 30 years, 40 years, to now do it a certain way.
I
You see what I'm
agree.
saying? I just
It's not.
disagree with that.
It's
I
not
just
about
disagree with that.
this. The thing. It's not about convincing. That's the beauty. I agree. It's not about. It's
They're
not.
gonna
This
have
is
to
not
come
a.
if they want to.
This is. But because this is the thing that I played out and thought about. You know, because I initially was like, well, I'm gonna just keep pushing forward with the International Asiatic Moorish Hip Hop Temple idea. I'm gonna just move forward with that and still be the subordinate temple, and I'm gonna just keep the dues. And I'll say I have them in an account, and when you guys get it straight, then here it is. It's right there in the public. This was a thought, but what I feel humbly and sincerely, what will happen is as things grow and progress, it'll be confusing because it'll be, oh, well, I like what Rami doing, and that way they still they still stagnant. So I'm gonna roll with him, even though the goal is to get back to the original temple. The goal
We
is to
have
make
to
sure
build it though. This is the thing. So let me go back. Let me go back, Rami.
we
When
can't
you
build
look
it
at,
from the
let me go back.
outside.
Let me go back real quick.
Mm-hmm.
As I illustrated, the Kirkman Bay Group was established 1934. Though they claim that it was 1929, which I proved documents where unless they can show some convention, some minutes, or 1929, 30, 31, 32. You know what I mean? I'm showing the documents. You know what I'm saying? I got the minutes also, right? They are not going to eat that. If you can't eat that little small thing to say that Emeliel was the prophet's choice as Supreme Grand Sheikh, if you can't, or the leader of the organization, if you can't eat that, bro, they not gonna eat nothing. The Emeliel long gone. You can't eat that. That's number one. Number two, when you look at the other groups, the brother who gave me my credentials, Brother David Baliel, they also, see, I don't pull no punches, Brother Rami. They also have a made-up line. They made up a line too. This is why I said in the beginning, from the organizational perspective, it's been a wrap. Then the only one that we know most likely have been blessed with the prophet's blessing is David Baliel from an individual perspective. You see what I'm saying? Because he stuck to the script of Emeliel even in his personal home, all the way up until he came into the public in the 80s. But everything else has been a part of the coup, even until this day. And if you can't admit just one thing, brother, there's no way in a world that you're going to admit how the structure is supposed to go.
Okay, here's the thing. This is the beautiful thing, because you had mentioned, oh man, you said we have to rebuild, right? And let's take that and hold that in the concept of a home. You know what I mean? You got a beautiful Victoria, you got a beautiful villa or something like that, 3-story, amazing property, but it needs some rebuild, it needs some retrofitting, it needs some refurbishing. You know what I mean? It got some termite situation going on in there. We need to just clean out the whole situation. Get the framing. The framing is beautiful. It's historic. We can't get rid of the framing. The outside is okay, it's still there, but inside needs a lot of work. What happens when you do that? The first thing you do is you go inside and start getting the trash and all of the dirt and getting all of that out. You got to clean all of that up out of there. We can't go to another lot.
What I'm telling you is that that house is not there. We need to just go with the blueprint and go and cut some cedar down and build this house of Ali from the example that the prophet gave us, which is the blueprint. That house that you're talking about doesn't exist.
I get what you're saying, and this is why I disagree. I don't think that there's any Moorish American, dirty or otherwise, hold on, that could tear up what the prophet brought.
No, what I'm saying, I'm not saying that people are not sincere. I'm not saying that they don't love the prophet. What I'm telling you, they didn't tear up anything. This is why I'm able to piece it together.
But you're saying
I'm telling you that what you see today is not a reflection of what the prophet laid down, and it hasn't existed since Emeliel passed.
Okay, but what I'm saying is that we can't go and try to recreate something when we already have it there. Now
there is nothing there.
Here's the thing: it is there. It may not be there in the physical realm, but it's always been there.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, brother. I'm with you on that.
And my point is, it's never been a problem about the actual organization itself. The structure is the issue is with the actual people that have been supposed to be maintaining the yard, and the people that were supposed to be washing the dishes, the folks that were supposed to be scrubbing the grime up out of there.
See, I'm a realist. Show me the organization that you refer to.
Well, I don't have it. I don't have the physical right.
What I'm telling you, brother, It
Do I
doesn't
have
exist.
you know, and
No,
so
listen to me.
and
You want to be hopeful. It does not exist.
it,
Since Emily Ill passed, you understand what I'm saying? Since he passed, there's more other working parts to this to prove my point. But since Emily Ill passed, the physical Moorish Science Temple of America have not existed. You have
no
people
problem. No problem.
you have people who have tried. You have some that is a part of the coup, and you have some that come along and continues to strive and try.
No,
And I'm telling you, it just doesn't exist.
I can accept that, but let me add this to it. The organization has a start date.
Absolutely.
Does it have a date where they said this organization is now defunct and
No,
it
because it's
is
a perpetual organization.
okay. So we're on this. So the organization, in terms of the physical location and the actual
The functionality of it.
the function, the practical function of it, where you can go and actually proclaim your nationality on the record, for the record. You can do all sorts of things we need to do in the practical world. That is not operating and doesn't exist. I can agree to that. But the organization is perpetual, and it is there for us to rebuild from the organization. That's
I think we're saying the same thing, but what I'm saying is
okay.
those people, brothers and sisters, whom I love dearly, you know what I'm saying? They are not reflective from the structural functionality of the Moorish Science Temple of America that Prophet Noble Ali brought. It just, that part doesn't exist. And now, if you think you're going to go in one of these groups and say, okay, I'm here to show you the functionality, that ain't going to happen. What
Right.
needs to happen?
Wait. Pause right there. You said that ain't gonna happen.
No.
Here's my perspective on it. Has anyone, any Moorish American Muslim, gone and put people on the record so that it can be publicly known? Get the camera out. Boom. Let's have a discussion. You're a Moorish American Muslim. Hey, we can have a friendly brotherly discussion about our movement. Correct? We can.
Brother,
If
you're a good brother. Let me tell you, I've been around a long time, brother. That don't work like that, brother. Listen.
Because this is the beautiful thing. We are now in a day and an age where you can't hide behind and duck and hide and run from the responsibility.
Okay, look at this brother right here. Look at this brother right here. This brother say, tell the world that Brother R. Jones Bay is the current and only leader of the lawfully chartered incorporated Moorish Science Temple of America. I say right now, and I challenge him to an intellectual, respectful conversation. I bet you he won't step up and have that.
See, hold on. Right there, the extra part. I bet you he won't. Hey, let's just put that on the table.
No, I don't have time to waste. We got babies are dying. I say right now that I put it on the table for the conversation. And while I wait for that, I'm going to go into these communities. I'm going to go and get these babies. I'm going to build these temples around the country. That's what I'm going to do. Because I've already seen this movie. I've already seen this movie 4 times over. It's a rerun, brother. I've been around for a long time. And so this is where it's going to come to. Now, I'm going to tell you, Rami Salaam, I've come to the conclusion that this is what it's going to come to. It's either going to be us who is passionate about the prophet and passionate about the system that the prophet laid down to get us up out this situation. And we're going to use that passion to build this thing from the blueprint that the prophet left us from 1925 to 1928, or we're going to spin our wheels trying to convince somebody the thing that clearly they know. They already know. And I'm not talking about the members. We have beautiful members in a lot of these groups, but those that's in leadership know everything that we're talking about.
And here's the thing. This is the beautiful thing. You said you've been around. You didn't see many things. Hey, you do have that experience. What I can say from my experience, let me just share a little bit with you. From my experience, I have a particular way of seeing things, and I've had the fortunate privilege of studying communication and being around a lot of different groups of people and have connections with a lot of different people on various different levels. And I don't publicize it and I don't speak on it because it's not for me to brag about and I'm not trying to boast. But the reality is that I have connections, and God willing, in due time, things are going to manifest themselves and be more present on a much major level or much a national, worldwide level. And what I'm saying is maybe in the past, yeah, it hasn't worked. I understand that. Here's the thing though, in the past, I wasn't around. I'm not afraid to
Well,
do
let
some
me give you the address so you can try.
please. No, listen.
There you
God,
go.
God willing, I will be in Chicago. God willing, I'll be in Atlanta. God willing, I'll be in New York. God willing, I'll be in New Jersey. And we gonna travel around and we'll have a discussion. Like the brother spoke about R. Jones Bay. Okay, let's sit down with brother R. Jones Bay. It's nothing to fight about. It's nothing to argue about. It's nothing you got to try to convince me of. It's simply put forth the evidence and let's share the information with the people.
I just
And
sent you all the information to R. Jones Bay. I just sent it in a private chat. And try it out. Give it a shot.
no,
Give it a
no,
shot.
and this is the beautiful thing. Allah's God in this. You know what I mean? And all we have to do, all we got to do is follow Noble Drew Ali's lead.
Brother, let me ask you a question.
I
Let
understand
me
the
ask you a
passion.
question. Let me
I
ask you a question.
understand.
See,
Come on
sometimes
with
we
it.
can't see. We can't disillusion ourselves, right? Do you tell me, right? Real quick, because I want to get on with the what's the name, right? Do you tell me right here, right, that this group right here has been around since 1934 and claiming leadership? They were there. Kirkman Bey was there when Eliel was appointed the Supreme Grand Sheikh of the Supreme Grand Council. He was there when the Prophet appointed him leader. They don't mention him one iota right here. You think you're going to talk about that?
It's not about talking them out. It's not about
No, what
convincing.
I'm saying is not talking about what I'm trying to say. I don't want to sound facetious. This is intentional is what I'm trying to tell you.
No, I get you.
This is
And
intentional. When
what
something
I'm
is
saying,
intentional, brother, when something is intentional, there is a goal that is trying to be met with this intent. And for one, think that they're going to come along and change the intent. And again, you have to remember, the elements are missing. Prophet Noble Drew Ali made the leader of the organization. Anybody got a divine constitution and bylaw? What is the leader of the organization name? The Grand Sheikh and Chairman.
gotcha.
If you're not going to adjust that, there's a reason why that's not being adjusted. A lot of legal things are in place. Why they not adjusting from the leader they're called the Supreme Grand Advisor?
Let's get to some realness.
You understand what I'm saying? It's more than it's deeper than rap.
Let's really get to it. You and I both were speaking about the Rise of the Moors group,
right?
Prior to the incident, months and months prior to the incident, right? Documented. People can see it for themselves. People that play with this movement and try to do whatever they want to do, thinking they are no better than the Prophet. God is working in mysterious ways. My mama told me all the time. This is not a movement to be played with, and people are suffering the consequences in the here and now. The different people that have been out front with all of the different kinds of spins on this Moorish movement and taking it and trying to do their thing, all of the different ones, from the brother up in Canada to anyone else, not excluding anybody. Anybody that's playing games, the consequences are going to be felt. It's no longer a place to hide. And what I'm saying is, it's not about convincing anybody. It's not about trying to get people to to get, hey man, this is what it takes to be a grand sheikh. These are the requirements. We hear how you was doing things in the past, all right, but we correcting things. As of 2022, January 1st or January 8th, 2022, this is what is expected. This is the qualifications. This is the standard for all grand sheiks. We need as a community, as a nation, we must fill these offices. This is how we're going to get things to work. And if you're not with it, the people will see. Because when it's one thing when they put things up on the website and people can make their videos. It's a different thing when there's Moorish American brothers and sisters that are there respectfully, asking under an intelligent tone, asking for dialogue and communication. Well, let's get some clarity on this for the people, because you are supposed to be representing the people. You are not bigger than the people. You're not bigger than the movement. This goes to any grand sheik. And if they are unwilling to get with that, it'll be seen and it'll be shown for everybody to see. And
I'm telling you, it's already been done. And so either we are going to build this movement or we're not.
Where's the footage? Where's the footage, brother?
Brother, it's so many people in here that know me. I have already tried to, brother. I have talked to every leader in this organization, brother, that's called the Moorish Science Tip of America. Every one of them. Every single one of them, brother.
And what I'm telling you,
I'm telling you right now, either we are going to build this organization from the blueprint that the prophet gave us and leave this madness alone, or we're going to be spinning our wheels. I will tell you this. Just the other day, what it was 2 days ago, me and my wife, and I mean, not my wife, my mother and my sons, we went to the Amish people land, and man, crazy educational. The point that I'm making is this, is that I was just watching their structure, their environment, and how they act in their environment. I mean, they was just doing it big. And I'm gonna put the videos out that I recorded. They got their thing together real good. They got it together real good. And I would imagine that you have some that are just not with that. You have some that are complacent. You have some that's they're just not go-getters. It is what it is. But that don't stop what they're doing, because they looking real good. I say that to say this. Everything that was done to cause this division that we see was intentional. It's not by happenstance. And you will realize that these Moorish groups are no more than clusters of gang pack mentality. So the only option is to go to those who don't know, teach them correctly, and build this movement like the prophet gave it to us. That's my only option.
From your perspective, I feel you. I feel.
And I would tell you this, you tried that, and me and you come back here in 5 years of what I'm doing, and you try what you're talking about, and I guarantee you'll be like, wow, bro.
See, but this is the thing. This is the thing that I'm. It's not.
But I want to get back to the original conversation we was talking. Let's not diverge too far. We was talking about the Supreme Grand Council. I'm telling you that it doesn't exist. Are we clear on that?
Yes, but hold on, real quick. Is that ultimately, I understand your perspective. I feel that when we look down the road, down that 5 to 7 years, even if other people follow your model and they also start to be building up their thing, their temple, to teach the youngins, the people that don't know anything about this correctly. Eventually, we'll have a clash and we'll still have this division.
Not necessarily.
And I understand your perspective, which is why for me, I feel the best decision let's make sure we're clear, get that foundation square first. But I wanted to, I gotta end this.
When you pull that up, let me say this for one thing, there is so many layers to this, Brother Rami. We only talked about the Supreme Grand Council. And we didn't even go deep into it. We just scratched the surface. But the functionality of that is heavy. The functionality of the grand body, I scratched the surface a little bit, but it's deeper than that when you get into the actual day-to-day function jobs that I'm talking about. Not only that, the spiritual side of teaching Islamism. You see what I'm saying? The cultural side of teaching Moorish. The educational side. I mean, it's so many layers, brother. You would be best off getting the little babies, getting school teachers, go to the people that the prophet went to and put this thing back together.
Let me just put some questions on the table that I had. Well, one of the ones, can we say for a fact that the Moorish Temple of America has a lawful, fully functioning, active Supreme Grand Council? We can say for, no. Per example, no. We went over the temple tax and report for every month. That was supposed to be in 1928. Have we been following Drew Ali's orders since then? No. We spoke briefly about the connection between the Supreme Grand Council and the Grand Body. The biggest question that we kind of been discussing, how do we restore the Supreme Grand Council and get it back active and functioning? And I understand your perspective. I feel my perspective, but let me put this
come on with it.
Immediate solution on the table. Aside from your vision of things as it relates to just restoring the Supreme Grand Council and getting it back active and functioning, can we agree that at the very minimum, we can at least make sure that we have a report or some sort of document that we can put together that is official, that clarifies, crystal clear, made it very clear and plain, make it plain, as Brother Malcolm said, what the Supreme Grand Council is, what duties and functions it has, and how someone gets elected or, appointed.
Brother, we already got that. We already got that in our temple. But let me say this before we get to that.
So can we make that?
No. Because before you get to that, you have to remember, Rami, before you get to that, you didn't need a Supreme Grand Council to build the Moorish Temple of America. Before you get to that, what did the prophet do before that? He established 15 charter temples, 2 to maybe 2 to 4. I'm still in the research of that, of unchartered temples, which means they didn't have charters. Now, this was way before the Supreme Grand Council. Before we get to that, we need to get to the basics first. Where's the Grand Sheikh and Chairman? Where's the Secretary? Where's the Treasurer? Where's the Treasury? All of this was established before a Supreme Grand Council. So before we even start talking about a Supreme Grand Council, the first thing we got to do is put the basic structure back in place. The Supreme Grand Council was the last thing that the prophet put in position. In 1928, there's a 28 convention. That was the last thing. They already had schools. They already had grocery stores. They already had manufacturing corporations. They already had all the things to run a society. So we're putting the cart before the horse. So we need to, so where I'm at right now, in the Moors of the noble temples, we're saying that we at 25, 26, 27. Prophet Noble Drew Ali was already interacting with government. He was already establishing the Moors hordes, the strength of the Moors throughout the Midwest and the East Coast. Okay. We need to get back to that.
So let's take it even further down to the core. And forgive me, I'm gonna have to bounce in a little bit, but we can
do part 2 though.
Yeah, I love where this is going. To your point, Do we have an official document, a pamphlet, if you will, some sort of text that if you didn't know anything about a Moorish Temple of America, Noble Drew Ali, anything at all, yeah, I'm talking you are straight, I'm
Right.
black, and I'm proud, I'm blackity black, blackity black, right? That's how you coming in.
Right.
Is there something you can give the person and say,
Nah.
this is the breakdown of the organization, this is what the different titles of the offices are and what their responsibilities? If we don't, can we at least agree that we should work on establishing?
Oh, no. We and our group, we this is, I can break this down to you because I have broke this down. Do you understand what I'm saying? So yeah, we do have that. But the point is that it's a little more deeper than that too. How can I say this? People need elders. They need elders. I didn't, a lot of what I was able to separate the truth from the falsehood from was handed down to me by elders. You see what I'm saying? And then I went on a journey to confirm or disqualify some of the information handed down to me by elders. You need elders. When Prophet Noble Drew Ali put on back of the questionnaire, Emeliel, Foreman Bay, Small Bay, Lovett Bay. Lovett Bay sold out. Small Bay sold out. Foreman Bay sold out. The only one standing was Emeliel. My credentials comes from his grandson. You see what I'm saying? So you need an elder or someone that was connected to an elder.
I agree.
You need that. You just can't. Other than that, if you're just going to have a superficial structure, you're going to have a superficial structure with no spirit in it. You see what I'm saying?
I'm with
You're
you.
going to have no spirit in it. And like Mars said, they have all the elders. You have all those that jumped the ship from the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Mars, they jumped the ship. They didn't go under the structure that the Prophet left for them. And they said it themselves.
Let me say this, you know what I mean, and then let me at least close on my part. All right, boom. When I was in college, freshman year, on the football team, they got a huge frat party going down, right? It's going down. It's my first one the night before the game. We're not supposed to be there. It's beers everywhere. I'm not participating, but it's fun activity. It gets a little reckless. My man, the senior, who was my like we had a brother system and on the football team, a freshman gets paired with a senior. My senior brother, he's wasted drunk, punches through a window, tears up all these ligaments in his arm, has to go to the hospital. He's done for the season, can't play football anymore. It's all bad. He was the starter for our squad. It's terrible. Hold on. On Monday, we have what was called Black Monday. Coach said, come to the field, grab your helmet and shorts and cleats. That's all you're going to need. And they ran us for hours and hours and hours. The point I'm saying is, I didn't punch through the window. I wasn't drinking. Some of the people were. Some of the people was reckless and wasn't doing it. But we all, the whole team, suffered on that Black Monday. Case in point with our movement. Some of the people have done some wrong things. Some of the people in this movement are dirty. Some of the people have turned their backs and jumped ship and all sorts of things. Ultimately, we are all suffering. And it's going to take us all, okay, if in the past you made some mistakes, now's the time to correct yourself. And it's never too late to correct yourself until Allah calls for you. And then when it's that time, there's nothing nobody can do. That's between you and Allah. But I feel very strongly that I feel what you're saying. But I feel just as what you said in terms of the elders. We need everybody's input. We need everybody to the table. We can't try to shun the certain group that okay, they was doing things wrong for the last 80 years
No,
intentionally.
I don't think we need this. I don't believe in shunning anybody. What I'm saying is the truth is stern. You see what I'm saying? And once I'm convinced that you are not going to yield to the truth, I don't have to waste any more time. As long as I know that, listen, I know that I'm moving on the truth that can be qualified, quantified, and established before the people. You know what I'm saying? I know I can do that. You know what I'm saying? Now, will I and as we affectionately call ourselves noble temples, will we be able to establish ourselves from that blueprint in the way that we seen it in 1928 in the years to come? Well, I'm sure going to do my best, because I know that is that which what we see. They don't, many of them, and it's hard because I have many friends in these bodies. Many of them do not care about the governmental structure. Many people don't even have a clue of how the Moorish Science Temple of America metamorphoses into a fully functional government competing with other governments and nations of the world. That's sad. That's sad. And it's sad because if I was to say, well, let's sit down behind closed doors and let me show you how this temple is to, and this is why people have the perception that the Moorish Science Temple of America is in semblance of a church, because nobody is able to explain how this temple ultimately metamorphosed into a government, because that's what it is. That's what it is.
I think humbly, maybe that could be your job to do, to help do, to go around and help teach and instruct the different people in these different temples publicly, not behind closed doors. Set up a table. Hey, where's the temple at? All right, well, if you won't let me inside the temple, I'll set up a table outside the temple with some information and documents. You know what I'm saying? But
I'm going to get the babies, and the elders that want to come, they can come. I'm going to get the babies, the 20 and 30 somethings, and the elders that want to come because they can hear the prophet's voice and what we're teaching, they can come along. But I would never do that, brother, because the intent, through my research, I see the intent deception. It's intentful. You see what I'm saying? It's very intentful. And anybody that's watching, there's 65 people here right now. And if they are a part of these Moorish group, they know I'm not lying, Rami. This thing is intentful. You know, let me tell you something. When people claim to be, and I'll let you close because I know you got to go. When people claim to be directly descended from Prophet Noble Drew Ali, but can't one person show you a charter with Prophet Noble Drew Ali's signature on it, and they won't man up and say that they hooked something up, it's a problem. And the alternative is that if that wasn't how it's supposed to be, then what are we supposed to do? Talk to me, the universe. Talk to me, ancestors. What am I supposed to do, ancestors? Am I supposed to fight this old battle? Or are you going to talk to my heart and guide me into the ways of Prophet Noble Drew Ali that was successful? I'm rolling with the ethers and the ancestors and the research, because I'm telling you, this research that I find, it's not a happenstance that I become one of the top researchers, and this is no ego, but I become one of the top researchers on the Moorish Science Temple of America from the organizational perspective, because I wanted to see what this thing really looked like. My heart is in this, and in that research, Rami, I'm telling you, you see the intentful deception, and it's bad.
I'm a close. I appreciate you, brother. Let me close with this. My mom was just telling me this the other day. She said, she was saying, son, it says, no weapons formed against us shall prosper. She was, but let me know, it's not saying no weapons won't be formed. It's just that the
There ain't gonna
weapons.
That's right.
So, in saying that, regardless of, and this is to all the brothers and sisters that may have some evil intent that are watching right now, regardless of what you may try to do, understand this movement is guided and it's by Allah now. And we were sent a true and divine prophet, and understanding that and really knowing and walking on that, I have faith that regardless of whatever games, it's over with. It's not going to work. Ultimately, we know truth prevails. We know that that light will erase all the darkness. And so what I'm going to work on, you know, because and let me and put in this perspective is that I didn't grow up in the Moorish Science Temple of America. Nobody in my family was a part of it that I knew. Nobody was talking. Nobody around me was even mentioning Moors that I knew in Oakland. Period. In Northern California, none of the people I came up with. So I came in this completely by myself with it. And through the dedication and research and hours of studying, I was able to understand this Supreme Grand Council issue. And I believe and I have faith that with that same dedication and perseverance, with the love, but we are not yielding, we're not going to move off this subject. And we will continue to raise this point. And I understand you have done your work. No problem. I can do some things. And so I will make the effort to make sure that this information is known across the country so that no one can say we didn't know or we didn't understand. All the leaders, you know, this is not to put them on blast, but this is to hold them responsible and accountable, because if you put yourself in a leadership position, that is what you're signing up for. You have to be responsible if you're going to claim to be the leader of a temple, the head of a temple. If you're going to claim to be a part of this movement, everyone has to be governed accordingly by the laws and the rules that Noble Drew Ali laid down. And so I'm going to move with that energy, and God willing, in due time, we will rebuild this temple and things will get back to functioning in the way that they're supposed to be. Islam,
brother. But we got to do a part two. I hope that but the main thing that I wanted to establish is that the Supreme Grand Council don't exist. You have people that are trying their best to establish themselves as a Supreme Grand Council. But I will tell you that there's more to it. There's more to it than calling yourself a Supreme Grand Council. The Supreme Grand Council is supposed to interface with the city council and other governments in order to perpetuate the movement, to push the movement into the next phase. That's not what's happening. That's not what's happening. You know what I'm saying? So we was talking about the stations and the positions of the Supreme Grand Council, but that's something that's small as it relates to the organizational structure. But also they're supposed to interface with local government, interface with state government, interface. It's way bigger. It's way bigger than that. And you can see that when people remove these entities, they don't acknowledge Email, and Email is the representation of what happens when Prophet Noble Drew Ali is out of the flesh. This is the example. What happens when I'm not around? Watch Email. Don't honor Email. You don't know what you're supposed to do. And that's why we all over the place. So if you can't acknowledge Email, from my perspective, I can't waste too much time with that, but I won't want to hold you too long. I know the family calling you, brother. But anytime you're ready to come back, I think we got a lot of stuff that we can cover with this topic and even more topics. We can even go and talk about the grand body and that function.
Thank you. I think a part two is needed. And let me just put this on you because as you're speaking, it just came to me. I think you may be a very important person and just the right person, especially with connections with the elders and time in the movement, to put forth a book that lays out a timeline of the Moorish Science Temple of America, detailing what has happened, what the rise and the current stagnation. I don't want to say the fall, but the current situation that we're in.
Well, let me tell you this, brother. The movement was supposed to do exactly what it did. after Emilio, it was supposed to do that. And now it's waiting on us.
Because I think it would benefit everyone. And I think many people don't fully understand what actually happened, in particular after Noble Drew Ali passed.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because it gets
I
real
agree.
quiet. It gets real quiet. It gets real vague. And information about the movement kind of just, you can't find it after Noble Drew Ali passes. And I think it's important now more than ever that we make that known to the people so they can understand the people that did have intentions of overthrowing and staging a coup and trying to take over the movement, because Noble Drew Ali did have enemies. This is not within our own movement. This is something that we have to, we have to digest and accept. Far too often we want to point the finger at, the European, the quote unquote white man, but we have to be honest and look at ourselves and understand it was people inside our movement that look just like us that did not necessarily have the best intentions. It's unfortunate, but the truth is the truth.
Absolutely. So I appreciate you, my brother. Whenever you're ready, you let me know. We return back to this conversation. All right, bro?
Will do. Appreciate it. Thank you all. Thank you all. Peace and love.
Peace. Islam. So, family, I think that was a good bill. Anybody got any questions? Listen. I am willing to debate any leader in the Moorish Science Temple of America on the information that I put forth. Any leader, any member of any group of any Moorish Science Temple of America. I'm not saying that people aren't trying, but I'm going to tell you that most of the things that you see in the name of the Moorish Science Temple of America, or things that are called the Moorish Science Temple of America, or organizations called the Moorish Science Temple of America, it was built on deception. The foundation was built on deception. Whether people like it or not, the Kirkman Bay Foundation is on deception. You got to clean that up first. It's just what it is. Get mad. I love me some Belial. That's my guy, without a doubt or contradiction. But that lineup that is given to the public, give me 1 second. I'm gonna stay here for a second with you. This lineup, I'm gonna stay here with a second for you, because I think you need it. This lineup right here, Emilio to Morriselle, is not true. It's just not true. Emilio supposedly passed it to Morriselle. So now the question would be, can we see, if you wrote this and you put an affidavit on this, where are the convention minutes to support this? Then it says Emilio to Morriselle, and Morriselle supposedly appoints Walton Bay. Again, where is the minutes to that convention? Because this only happens in convention. It's a lawfully chartered organization. Everything has to be done lawfully. Then it goes down to say that Walton Bay supposedly, according to how this thing works, appointed Harlan Bay. What year was this convention? Where are these minutes? So if this is fraudulent, how you plan to build something divine from a fraudulent foundation? You cannot build nothing divine from a fraudulent foundation. It doesn't work like that. And if this is a lie, there has to be an alternative. Now, let's go on the Kirkman Bay side real quick. On the Kirkman Bay side, it is taught by the Kirkman Bay group that they selected Kirkman Bay behind closed doors. This is in 1933 that this is said. That is not how you select a leader for the Moorish Science Temple of America. They are appointed, and they are appointed through the process that Prophet Noble Drew Ali gave us. And that process is the convention process. Once again, not that. Once again, the convention process. Here you go. My bad. The convention process. If I'm sitting up here showing you that happened in 34, 33, but I can show you the conventions of 1930 from Emmanuel all the way up to 32. So from 29 to 32, Emmanuel was the man. Now, the burden of proof would be on show me where Kirkman Bay ran a convention from 29 to 33. From 29 to 33. Mars TV is in denial. Now, so I would ask them to produce for me where Kirkman Bay ran a convention with all the bells and whistles that I'm showing you. They can't produce that because there were none. There was no official business under the leadership. There was no official business under any Kirkman Bay leadership. Sit. Now, anybody want to come and debate me about that? All you got to do is email me. We can do it tomorrow. You can't debate me on it respectfully, then you're just talking. You're just talking. There you go. Then you're just talking. And I'm telling you, and now, what is my point? My point is the same. My point is that if we love the Prophet movement, the faithful will come together and build it from the blueprint left to us by the Prophet. Yep, I got minutes from 29, 30, and 31. Fragments. I don't have the full minutes, but I got fragments of all of them. I got the I guess you would call that the flyers. I got the flyers of all of them. You see what I'm saying? And the head was Emmanuel. Yes. Yes. And I am here to say that if someone intentionally deceives, what's the point of believing? So I say, anybody come forth. Let's do it respectfully. And I will also debate the authority that is recognized by the Secretary of State. I would debate anybody on that. Bring your best. Bring your best. I would debate anybody. You got some proof? I'm going to give you the link right now. Don't come here talking. You got to have some proof. Matter of fact, I'm going to give you the link right now. I'll let you talk today. Go ahead. There get the link. Come on, Michael Young, babe. Come on in. Let's do it. I'll give you 15 minutes. Show me what you got. I know you're going to come talking, but I'm going to bust you with some receipts while you're talking. Come on, where you at? I got things to do. I mean, you're cutting in my people time. Come on up in here. Where you at? Where you at? Or you just talking? I put the link in there. Where you at? You're cutting into my children's time now. Tajay! Here he come.
Si, senor.
Here he come. That's all right. He cutting into Taji time.
Yeah, I kind of want to have like father-son time. So like,
Go.
come on.
That's right. That's right. Surround your bed. You already know. You're cutting into my time. Come on, young babe. You gotta get that. I can't even get you in the thing. Somebody say Walton L, not Walton Bay. Well, that's what. Well. Let me tell you something. MST of A mission 28. On this document, I didn't make this document, right? Let me pull it back up so you know. I didn't make this document. And this is another testament, brother. This is another testament. On this document, it states Walton Bay. And guess who filed that document, brother? Who filed the document? MST of A mission 28. Who filed the document? Not me, brother. And you know I love you. You know I got a seat for you over here. Let me stop before I get you in trouble. I didn't file this. This is an official document. Hey, family, tomorrow, Moorish World TV, man, we going to turn up. We going on side that of the bar. We go straight for his juggler vein tomorrow. So I'm in here teaching the original people in the building. Man, listen, if someone wants to debate me on this topic, you know what I mean? My thing is, if we're going to get it right, we're going to get it right. If we're not going to get it right, we're not. I'm working to get it right, and I'm not asking anybody for permission to get this thing right. I know it works. I know it works because I witnessed Prophet Noble Drew Ali make it work. Within 3 years, every temple had a school. Within 3 years, every temple was feeding their own people in their community. Within 3 years, every temple had a spiritual program that got the doors busting at the seams. Within 3 years, they made their own clothes, their own flags. Within 3 years, we still depending on the European. We still depending on the European. We're still depending on someone to take care of us. When you look at the garbs of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, that was made by a Moorish seamstress. Where are the seamstress at? Huh? Every majority of the temples had grocery stores. I mean, so anybody that talk this mess to me, I'm frustrated. That's right. That's right. I'm frustrated. Anybody talk this mess to me and they've been around for 80 years, that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. You follow what I'm saying? That's totally embarrassing that someone would say that someone be around 80 years and they haven't produced one iota of what the prophet produced. And then what they claim that they produce is dilapidated, deteriorating, but there's some information on that I can split a wig with. Where you at, Michael Young Bay? What's wrong with you? Come on up in here with that Obama phone. Them things can get on here too. It's like, I'm glad. Where Michael Young Bay at? Come on. Mighty Michael Young Bay. Come on up here. And when you come in here, you bring that switch off the tree. Get that switch off the tree. Come on in here. It can't be blocking you, brother. All right, I tell you what I'm going to do. Because I know you ain't got no receipts. You got some receipts? I don't know why it's blocking you, but let me see. I'll let you. Let me put a number in there. Don't worry. Call this number if it's blocking you. Call this number. It's blocking them. I don't know how it's blocking them. That don't make sense. That's why I call this number. What you guys say? I know. And you bring a switch in here with you. You go on at that tree and you cut down and you bring a switch. There you go. There you go. You bring a switch in here with you. You hear me? You don't come in here without no switch. It's not, brother. But come on, brother. I've been here for a minute, so what you got for me?
Hey, the switch is lethal, so the switch whoop anybody.
What you got for me, brother? Come talk to me.
Man, look here. I ain't gonna get into no back and forth. I stop doing that. I'm not gonna get into.
It's not a back and forth. I would love for you to just take a minute and give me your position, so I can.
My position is this here. My position is this here. Like you mentioned, the minutes for mainly ill, also minutes for Kirkman Bay. They had conventions.
Where they at?
They had conventions. You got to order it from the secretary.
What year?
From 29 in any year.
You got them?
No, I don't have them personally, but I don't saw them. You can get convention minutes. It ain't about.
Brother,
it ain't about.
Listen to me. Hold up. Before you say that, right? Before you say that, you said 29 minutes, right? That's what you said, right?
Year 29, right? 1929.
Okay. Let me show you something real quick. If you claiming that Kirkman Bay have 1929 minutes, right? That's what you just said.
Right.
Let me show you something.
They have 1929 minutes.
Let me show you something. The only 29 minutes that exists is these minutes that you see right here. And Kirkman Bay attended this convention under the leadership of Eliel.
Right.
This is a fragmented part of the convention. These are not Kirkman Bay conventions.
No, I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
No, hold up.
Let's get an understanding.
Secretary is A. Brown Bay in these commitments. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
That's the secretary. So what I'm telling you is that Eliel is the only leader of the Moorish Science Temple of America in 1929 with minutes to support it.
Okay, now in the minutes of 1929, then they vote. Yeah, okay. And the minutes of 1930, then they vote.
Of course.
I'm talking about for them officers.
Of course.
So the public be clear. Okay.
Of course. They was reaffirmed. Most of them was reaffirmed.
What year was he voted into office?
Who?
Kirkman Bay.
He was never voted into office.
He was never voted in office. No minutes reflect that he was voted into office.
No.
Okay. Now this for the Moors that don't know. Okay, because you have hold
up. Before you talk about the Moors that don't know, where are the minutes when he was voted into office? You got to produce that.
Well, I don't have copies of them.
I didn't think so. You don't.
But hold on. That don't mean that the minutes don't exist.
No. What we're gonna do is let's stay on task.
Okay, I'm staying on task. This is very important.
Listen. This
is very important.
The minutes exist that he was voted into office, then the burden is on you to produce those minutes. It's not on me. I produced the minutes of Eliel functioning within the construct of Prophet Noble Drew Ali's order. In that order. So it's up to you to produce the minutes where Kirkman Bay was voted into office. It's not up to me. The burden is not on me. My burden is to show that Eliel ran conventions from 29 all the way till his passing. That's my burden.
Okay, hold on. He ain't nobody. I'm not saying he didn't. I'm not saying none of that. I'm saying that people have to keep in mind that there was two different conventions going on. Okay. You had the group on the south side.
No, we're not getting to that. You're gonna have to produce it. You gotta produce it. You can't just talk here.
all
No,
that goes in, all that goes together.
you just can't talk
All
here.
that goes together.
You have to produce it. You have to
I
produce it.
hold on, I don't have to produce nothing.
Yeah, if you hear
I
and you're
don't
making
have to produce
we just,
nothing.
brother, listen, we just ultimately, you my brother, and I love you. And we just want to get to the truth. Why do we want to get to the truth? So we can move properly and correctly, and we can benefit so we can benefit, so we can benefit from this holy and divine movement. Now, one thing that we will have to do is we're going to have to admit some things. That's one thing that we're going to have to do in order to move in the holy and divine movement, or to move in a divine way. We have to admit some things. And so in order for you, that's right, I mean, it's getting hot. In order for you to have a position at this stage of the game, you have to produce what you're saying. I'm producing what I'm saying. I'm saying Kirkman Bey did not take his leadership role officially to 1934 after the death of Emil, and that he was not running any Moorish Science Temple of America established by Prophet Noble Drew Ali until 1934. That's my position.
Okay, you say
and
that.
I got the minutes to prove that on my side.
Okay, now with you saying that, because I ain't got no minutes in front of me, we already established that, so that ain't got to keep going back and forth with that.
So I'm gonna give you some time to go get them.
No. Let me. Can I talk? I know this your platform, so I don't want to be disrespectful to get the yelling and woo out the bang. Right. You know what I'm saying? Show me the respect like you show everybody else. You know what I'm saying?
I don't want you filibuster. I want to see this brothers keep talking about. I got the 33 minutes. I got the 33 minutes. You know I got the 33 minutes. The 33 minutes is the minutes after the death of Emil. I just said that. Didn't I just say that?
Okay, you got the 33 minutes. Okay, you saying he came into power at the 33 at the year of 33, which would be what, fourth convention?
Yes,
okay, so you saying he came into authority then. Okay, now for the Moors, and the reason why I broke that reason why I'm bringing forth the voting thing, because it's things that have been said even by you over the years on YouTube, Facebook, etc. And it's a known thing that's being put out there. Okay, when you go down to the records office as a Moorish man, because you must be what you know and not what you told. My people walk with the prophet, etc. But how I was raised, you must study to show thyself approved.
Absolutely.
Just because my family into this don't mean they telling me the truth. So you got to know the truth. You got to study to show thyself approved. So when you go down to the records office, because the reason why I brought that voting up, because that second of the convention, they voted. You got leaderships that saying, oh, you ain't supposed to vote. You just supposed to appoint. You just supposed to appoint. That's not true. The prophet appointed because it was the first convention, number one.
That's not true.
And he had that power and authority. Yes, you do. When you look up rules, when you look up rules and robbery, mainly every organization, even corporations run rules and robbery. The first thing they do when holding the meeting is elect a chairman.
You're guessing.
No,
you're guessing.
Them facts, you can read that in the Robert's Rules of Order.
We're not talking about the Robert's Rules.
Okay, we ain't gonna go into that. Let me finish saying what I'm saying, because you saying what I'm guessing, and I'm not saying what I'm guessing. You can't tell me what I'm guessing because you don't know what I know.
I'm telling you, you're guessing, and I can prove you're guessing.
So you saying you ain't supposed to vote?
No,
you just supposed to appoint leadership?
No. Let's rewind real quick. What I mean by you're guessing, the way that the prophet gave us the example, right?
Right.
So he appointed Emil.
To what position?
Let me finish.
To what position?
Chairman.
As the chairman.
The Grand Sheikh and chairman, absolutely. The chairman is the head of the organization.
It's on record. It's on record that the prophet himself appointed him the chairman. While the prophet was on the scene.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I got a question. If he was the chairman, because let's say I'm a person. Let's say I'm a person that don't know. I'm just joining. if he the chairman, I look at things like this. Is he the chairman back then because the prophet got in the newspapers that he was the governor? So I look at things like that. He was the he was the governor of Temple number 1.
Yeah.
Okay. Some people think that Temple number 1 is the main temple. Or as you talked about earlier, that some people think that that was the Supreme Council, Temple number 1. That's not true.
That what?
That when you say he elected him as a chairman, he appointed him as the chairman?
Absolutely. When listen,
where's that in the minutes that he appointed him the chairman?
Listen to this.
But me personally, I'm just saying, I know what I hear out there. I'm saying me personally.
Let me show you this.
I never read where he was the chairman of the organization. Even in the prophet's paper, when the prophet went on his tour, he said he left him in charge of the activities. He ain't say he appointed him or put him as the chairman, or as some people say, oh, he said in the prophecy.
Let me
clear that up for me.
Let me finish. The reason how we know, and anybody that's been around may have seen these minutes. Everybody haven't seen them. But the reason why we know for this platform, let me just say for this platform, because when you look at the second annual convention, who ran the first annual convention? Do you know?
Who ran the first annual convention?
Who was the chairman of the first annual convention?
At the first annual convention, look at the lithograph.
I'm asking you.
You look at the lithograph. You look at that picture. Who was it? Who was sitting up front there? That's Brother Ross Bay. He was the master of ceremony.
Brother, I said who was the chairman? That's a different thing. That's something different. Prophet Noble Drew Ali ran that first annual convention.
Yeah, but I'm saying, as far as the procedures, who ran it? It wasn't immediately ill. It was Brother Ross Bay. I know the prophet was in charge of the convention.
Okay. Who was in charge of the conventions after the prophet?
After the prophet, it's up in the air. After the prophet,
not up in the air, brother. I'm gonna show you right now. It's not up in the air. Give me 1 second. Eliel wore quite a few hats, brother, or quite a few fezzes. Look in your bottom right-hand screen. Eliel is the chairman. He's running things. This is the highest position. All right. Now, I'm going to show you something else. I ain't going to give you all at once. I'm going to show you something else. You see it right there? Eliel the chairman.
I see it.
Hold up. Don't say nothing yet. Let me pull up something else. Don't say nothing yet. Give me one more time. Eliel the chairman on this one. Eliel the chairman. I'm trying to find. Okay, here we go. I got you. There you go, right here. Look at the bottom left hand. Eliel is the Supreme Grand Sheikh on this one. You understand what I'm saying? He's wearing multiple fezzes. He was the governor. He was the Supreme Grand Sheikh. He was the Grand Sheikh and chairman. And guess what? Last but not least, I don't use Europeans to validate anything. But we actually have the court case where the judge actually confirmed. Oh my goodness, he done dropped off. So now people like Mars need to produce. Show me your proof that Kirkman Bay have some standing before 1933. Show me. I'm showing you activity. Press 1 if y'all seeing activity. Why am I pounding this real quick? The reason why I'm pounding this because I'm showing that until we get back on track, this will never be what the prophet gave us.
Islam. I got disconnected.
You understand? Until my point of this, young Bay, is not to cause people to be so messed up in the head and disgruntled. My point is very simple. Until we get back on track from what the prophet gave us from 1926 to the closing of the convention of 1928, we're never getting back on track.
Now I got a question.
Right.
Okay. Now I ain't see if you posted the last post because I got the last picture because I got disconnected. Okay, but my thing is this here. With all that said, right? When you go down to the records office,
there you go.
When you go down to the records office, and like I tell Moors all the time, I don't care who you is, start with the prophet. Because everybody else, including Emmanuel or whomever, can be wrong, but we know the prophet, right?
All right, and then I got a serious question for you.
Okay.
So when you go down to the record office, go ahead.
So when you go down to the records office, and I told Morris to do this some years ago on Facebook. You go to that records office, you start with the prophet. You're gonna see the prophet where he had the first meeting. You're gonna see the prophet where he registered and changed the organization, etc. And you're gonna see every person that's in authority figure from the prophet on up until right now today, which is under the leadership of Brother R. Jones Bay.
Okay.
No. Person can dispute it. They can say whatever. That's what it is. Okay, my thing is this here. Because I was listening to the brother previous on there that was on here, with you previous.
Hold up, bro. I don't want you to get away from that question about the records office because I need to touch that. But go ahead. Don't forget that.
So why haven't anybody under leadership under the Emmanuel branch, because they branch off with Braswell Bay and Bailey Hill and whomever, you got people even saying they reincarnated Moors, like you had on there saying they Allah and Noble Drew Ali, all that crazy shenanigan stuff. I'm gonna call it what it is, because certain things we shouldn't even speak.
Come on, brother.
So the thing is here with me is this here. See, I'm about unity, and I know what it takes.
My brother, you missed that. But we can talk about unity later. Let's deal with this law that you asking.
Right. So with that being said, if he's the authority figure that's recognized,
okay,
whether we agree with what he's doing or disagree, or we disagree or agree with the past or whatever, he's still in that position.
Okay.
The Moorish Temple of America Incorporated is still the body that's recognized.
Let me ask you a question. Okay, I got you. Now let me ask you a question. And I want you to answer it seriously.
Okay.
If I steal your coat, do that make it my coat?
No, if you steal it, no.
Okay. Stop right there. If the judge in 1931 determined that Emmanuel was the head of the organization and we got the transcript from the court, how is it in 1930, the end of 30s, that Kirkman Bay is now on the record as the leader? The judge, hold up. The judge hit the gavel. Bam! Emmanuel, you're the head of the Moorish Temple of America. Kirkman Bay, you're not.
Hold on.
You don't know about that case?
Hold on. No. I never saw or heard nothing like that.
Okay.
Before, but I'm just saying.
Do I need to bring the case up? I'm asking you. Don't laugh. Listen, I'm 100%. If I show you the case where the judge determined that Emmanuel is the rightful head of the Moorish Temple of America, I show you that in the early 30s. How in the world do Kirkman Bay get on the record in the late 30s?
Okay, now I'm going to answer your question with this here. Because my point is this here. If that brother is in charge, this organization is recognized as the
I'm gonna do something that I don't normally do.
No, let me finish my statement. Let me finish.
Oh, you good.
If this organization is the organization that's recognized.
Now, brother, I get that. We get that. Let me finish.
How
did that come about?
Okay, I don't know how it came
I'm
about
telling
because
you, I just gave you the hint.
okay, all right, but let me
So
say this,
now,
bro. Let
with
me
a
say this,
holy
brother.
and divine movement, with
Okay,
the
let me say
holy
this.
and divine movement, you
Okay,
cannot run a holy and divine movement off of fraud.
but let me and I agree. Hold on, man. Because you're not letting me speak. You're not even letting
No,
me
no, you
finish
want to
my thought.
filibuster.
Or
Come on.
nothing. No, I'm not filibustering nothing. It come clearly to this here. Because if that brother is who you don't want me to repeat it, I won't repeat it for the sake of you.
Go ahead. You good.
But my thing is this here. The prophet said he needs strong men and women. And the brother made reference to it. No, you come to get together as unity. You can't hold on to that stuff. You can't hold on to that because you
No,
still
no,
gonna
no.
have
We need the truth. The
Islam.
truth
Can I speak?
unifies.
If can I speak, brother?
The truth unifies. I'm not
What
unifying under no lie.
what's
Don't do
the
that.
no, you can't unify. You can't look. You can't unify under no lie. I'm not saying unify under no lie. Because first of all, this not Emmanuel Ill, this not Kirkman Bay,
Brother, you want to unify under a lie.
none of them individuals organizations. This is Allah's movement.
Brother,
This is Allah's
listen to me. That
organization.
sounds good for the church. We're talking about scholarship and history right now.
Right. And we talking scholarship and history for all the Moorish Americans out there.
Let me show you something.
Let me speak. If all the Moorish Americans right, I ain't think so.
No, because what you want to do. No, but listen. Because what you want to do.
You say no filibuster.
Listen,
I'm finna give it to you.
more,
You say no filibuster.
More, listen. We ain't gonna do a song and dance. This is not the platform for that.
Ain't nobody. I'm not trying to dance with nobody. I'm finna put it out there. I'm finna put it out there how you supposed to do things.
Go ahead.
I'm finna put it out there how you supposed to do things. I'm not trying to filibuster nothing.
Put it out there.
I hold no allegiance to nobody but Allah and the Prophet.
Okay, put it out there.
If y'all want things to change, by that organization, the organization that I'm a part of, if y'all want things to change, y'all come into this organization. If y'all want things to change, then y'all vote them officials that's out in this organization out and put in the right members so we can move forward as a nation. Because that's how it's supposed to be done.
Why don't those people that's already there have been there and know something ain't right? Why not y'all do that? But you think it's all right.
Hold on, you say what? Repeat that, bro.
If you think that those lead or head officials are not functioning from the structure of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, then why haven't y'all did that then? Why are you asking somebody outside to come in and do that?
I can answer that. I can answer that clearly. You know why it ain't been done? Because most of Moorish Americans in whatever grand body they under do not know their duties as sheiks and sheikesses. The powers and authority rest in the hands of the sheik and sheikesses alone. The Prophet gave us that authority. When the sheiks and the sheikesses say, no, when the sheiks and the sheikesses say that's enough, yes, I am. When the sheiks and the sheikesses say that that's enough, and they come together and say, no, your grand sheik, he the father figure of the temple, but he don't run it. Just like y'all be saying, hey, just like for example, I'm gonna give you a prime example.
This is the part I don't like.
I'm gonna give you a prime example. Like when you say, brother, Emmanuel runs the convention. No, according to the Prophet, the sheiks and the sheikesses run the conventions.
No, I'm talking about the convention chairman, brother. But I'm talking about official in official capacity.
Right.
In
that official capacity as a chairman. I'm saying as a chairman. Look, hold on, as a chairman.
Brother, what you want to do is you want to talk smooth church talk. I'm talking about,
bro. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead. It's your time. Don't show your picture you finna talk about, bro. Go ahead.
You want to talk smooth Islam talk. What I'm trying to say is that in order for us to get,
go ahead. Because you saying I'm doing Christian. You say I'm doing Christian talk. No, don't do that. No, come on, bro. I'm saying facts.
What I'm saying is, if you're gonna talk to me, right? Remember, you said that Kirkman Bay was voted in. I'm telling you, let's see the minutes. I'm telling you, even when Kirkman Bay tried to get the Supreme Grand Advisor position, he went to Emmanuel. So Emiliel by default is the leader. Kirkman Bey did not go to the resurrected, to the reincarnated. He did not go to Allah El. He went to Emiliel.
So now I got a question for
And
you, right?
Emiliel, and let me finish. And when Emiliel said a mistake was made because he gave Kirkman Bey an honorary because what he did at the prophet's burial or home service, he said he struck it off the record. I have that record where he struck off the honorary credentials. I have the record. So, but the point that I'm making is if he goes to Emiliel to be confirmed or appointed or however you voted, however you want to put it, I ask you one more time, who is the leader? Emiliel. Now, until you can show that Emiliel was voted out, Emiliel abandoned his post, and Kirkman Bey was voted in, you don't have an argument. And now we can go to, man, we just need to get along and we need to just play fair. We can get into that now. But I'm talking about official business here.
Okay, I'm talking about official business too. Hold on. Go ahead, man.
Do you want to bring your stuff here? Do you want to bring your proof here and I bring mine and we compare?
I don't need to bring no proof.
Jesus coming, ain't it?
Hold on, you the one making these claims. You the one need to show the public, and so you the one that need to get a record of them minutes. I don't need to prove nothing.
This ain't going away. I
know where I'm at in the prophet house.
I know.
I ain't got to do that. I ain't got to do that.
Brother, Jesus is coming, brother. I'm telling you, he gonna be here. I gotta go this time, though. I gotta go. Islam, I love you, my brother. I got to go. This brother just want to talk, man. I'm not with smooth speeches, man. Mars TV, you are welcome to come. You are welcome to come on here and debate me. And you can bring anybody you want. You can bring anybody you want. In fact, let me show you. What you're looking at right here is the people who actually, and if you study these people, you can actually find out who they are. On this paper right here, and those who know of according to their ways, action, and works. Brother T.W. Olson, Milwaukee. Brother F. Nelson Bay of Detroit. Brother Childs Bay of Cleveland. Sister M. Cliff Bay of Indianapolis. And Sister Dove L. Those people who secretly, on their own, said, we vote for Kirkman Bey. Those are the names of the people. And I can prove that with cross-referencing. I can prove this. I can prove this. I have too many. And the point that I'm making is many people think I do this to try to disqualify these other groups. No, the door of religious freedom swings open and you may walk through as you see fit. But I do this because we have to get it right. I believe and have faith and confidence that the Prophet Noble Drew Ali is a pathway up out of this situation. I believe that they have turned the same principles of the Moorish Science Temple of America that's supposed to get you elevated, get your mind working, get you motivated to get up out of this oppressive situation. I believe they just went straight to the church with it. And nothing wrong with the church because that's the church philosophy, but that's not the Moorish philosophy. That's not the Moorish philosophy. You see what I'm saying? That's right. And if this guy was right, religious freedom and copyright and infringement are two different things, then y'all should be shutting some people down. Let's see that happen. Let's see that happen. And we got court cases to show that's not possible either. With that being said, I'm gone, family. I'm telling you, anybody wish to challenge me, email me to Bay, but I'm only doing this. I'm only doing this because I desire to get this thing right. And we're going to build it from scratch, right alongside of the falsehood, right alongside of the frauds, right alongside of the fakes. We're going to build it from scratch, and we're going to pass it to the next generation, and they're going to take it to the next level. I mean, they're going to take it to the next level. And anybody that wishes to join us in rebuilding from the Prophet's blueprint, all you got to do is email me to akabay@gmail.com, but it's some work. There's some work involved. We're going to attend our Friday Holy Day meetings. We're going to attend our Sunday meetings. We're going to attend our Wednesday TAFA meetings, the Alliance for Political Accountability. We're going to put this thing back together. We're going to work on getting this land right. We're going to work on drilling our own well so we can have our own water. We're going to work on these stores. We're going to work on some things like that in the Moorish paradigm in the coming years. You know what I'm saying? The game is over. They can play the games all they want. The game is over. With that being said, peace and love, family. Hope you enjoyed it. Can't wait till my brother Sarano Bay come and see me face to face. But make sure you bring the switch with you, because I'm going to whoop you. Peace and love, family. That's my brother. Mars TV, that's my brother. He tried to defend that foolishness to the very end. But I can't wait till he come before the public and try to defend it so I can make an example out of him. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just not talking this talk here. We're actually building on everything that I'm talking about. Peace and love.